Thanks for joining us today. I'm here with Shao Fang, co-founder and VP of Double Time, the Hive's latest startup creation to transform industrial field service operations by offering a dynamic AI-driven skill marketplace for optimizing the supply of technician skills for both full-time and contractor pools of workers. Shao joins Double Time after working in both the worlds of enterprise and the startup ecosystems. Shao most recently served as VP of Engineering at ServiceMax, a recognized leader in field service management. Prior to that, Shao led engineering at Intalio to develop and launch an application platform as a service product, culminating in their acquisition by ServiceMax in 2015. Before Intalio, Shao had held technical leadership positions at enterprise software product and services companies such as Inventec, SpikeSource, SeeBeyond, Asera, and SAP Labs. Hi, Shao. Thank you for joining us virtually today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here.
Shao, we'd like for you to tell us about your journey working with engineering teams at companies both large and small. But maybe before you do that, can you tell us a little bit about your personal background, like how you got into the world of technology to begin with?
Sure. I personally, my foray into technology was started when, out of the blue, my father, who was not in technology at all, brought home a Apple II computer when I was in high school. For those of you propeller heads, this was a Apple II Plus computer with a measly 48 kilobytes of memory. And I learned how to program on the computer by reading books and coded a flashcard application to help myself prepare for the SAT, which is the entrance exam for colleges in the US. And for college, I went to Caltech to learn more about computers, taking classes broadly in electrical engineering, computer science, communication systems, and so forth. And at Caltech, I attended a seminar class on neural computation with Professor John Hoffield. Some of you might know about this Hoffield recurrent network, which is this seminal work that rekindled research interest in neural networks in the 80s. So after that class, I developed a passion for pattern recognitions and neural networks and decided to go to UPenn for graduate studies. And while there, I did my PhD research in randomized learning algorithms for neural nets.
Wow. So your love of technology and engineering and what sounds like the beginnings of AI started at a very young age.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your personal story. Now, maybe could you tell us your journey as a business leader at these various disruptive technology companies?
Sure. After UPenn, I joined SAP to work on their workflow product. And this was before the dot-com boom. This sort of show my age. This was before the dot-com boom. And at that time, SAP's client-server ERP product was experiencing hyper growth in the US. And then later on at SAP, I switched over to develop their marketplace product for the web. This is when web is really taking off in the business world. And after 5 years at this highly successful ERP company, I left to join Asera, which is a startup that was developing a rapid application development platform for the ASP market. ASP is application service providers. So this was sort of a precursor to today's SaaS and PaaS and services that's very commonplace today. So ASP was sort of a precursor to this modern technology. And at Asera, I led a team to develop their portals, personalizations, and data entitlement frameworks. After about 3 years, I was recruited by SeeBeyond to lead their business process management product suite, BPM product. SeeBeyond was a integration middleware company and that wanted to rebuild their BPM product for web service orchestration to be based on the new BPM industry standards that were emerging at that time. And after the product was launched, one of my mentors invited me to join SpikeSource as a member of the founding team. At SpikeSource, I led the team to build the virtualization infrastructure and automation to test and certify open source software. The objective of the company was to help enterprises adopt open source software, basically. In 2008, I joined Intalio, first to develop their business rule management platform, and then I stepped into the VP engineering role to develop Intalio's application platform as a service product. And we were acquired by ServiceMax in 2015. And at ServiceMax, I led a team to build the next generation intelligent dispatch applications based on the Intalio APaaS platform. And we rolled this out to global enterprise customers such as Philips Healthcare and GE Healthcare.
Wow, what a fascinating journey you've had, and thank you for sharing that with us. So, what about these unique experiences prepared you for your role with Double Time? What
Yeah.
made you decide to really step into this leadership role as a startup co-founder after being a VP of engineering for so many years?
Yeah, as I enumerated above, so at a higher level, I made my career in enterprise software, and from applications to platform to cloud infrastructures, from fairly early stage startups to mid-sized ISVs to large software companies like SAP, and even a global conglomerate. ServiceMax was actually part of GE for 2 years, and such a varied experience afforded me a somewhat comprehensive and holistic view when it comes to enterprise software development and product life cycles. To be more specific, at ServiceMax, sort of in a sense that led naturally to the founding of Double Time. ServiceMax was actually quite an exciting and rewarding journey from multiple fronts. First of all, I gained a very deep understanding of domain knowledge in field of service management with a recognized leader. I led a team to rewrite their intelligent dispatch applications, which are very, very relevant to what we want to do at Double Time. And we went through three acquisitions in 5 years. It's quite an interesting experience. So Double Time, what we want to do is we will want to generalize, in a sense, what we did at ServiceMax to be able to work across different backend systems, optionally work across enterprise boundaries with gig economy functionalities, and at the same time leveraging latest AI and AR advances. So.
Wow, that sounds so interesting. And I can definitely see how all of those experiences led to this point in your career where you can take this on. So, can you tell us more about your vision for Double Time and maybe what the scope of the product is today and where you see it a year from now?
Sure. So, as sort of a crude analogy, what Double Time we want to strive to become the Google and the Uber for field service technicians and experts. So we want to leverage AI and AR technologies, latest advances in these exciting technologies to enable gig economy for field service by providing directories and marketplace services for field service providers and technicians, both for within individual companies and also across entire industries. So in a sense, we want to help technicians and field service providers to keep the world running. And in terms of the scope and of the product today, we just started in November, and the founding team, we have been surveying the market, exploring potential partners, and wrapping up on technologies and defining product architectures. And in 9 to 12 months, we definitely expect to have a beta version of the product deployed with a few early adopters to get feedbacks and to validate product market fit.
That's awesome. And I can definitely appreciate how you guys are trying to meet the needs of everyone and using AI and AR and all these new technologies to really optimize this field and this area. So speaking to that, and I know you've mentioned obviously AI and AR, what are some of the other major macro trends in the industry specific maybe to field services? And what role do you see Double Time playing in all of that? Like which of the trends will you adopt, or maybe what will you guys create as a trend?
Sure. In field service, for those of you that are not as familiar with field service, you have technician go out to the field to do maintenance work and repair work, etc. Doesn't seem very exciting, seems to be very mundane. But in fact, in this field service space, some of the trends are definitely companies are increasingly adopting knowledge management and AI technology to do resource management and to do schedule optimization with the objective to improve work order dispatch. They want to make sure the work order dispatch the right technicians with the right backgrounds and so forth. And there's also an increased adoption of AR and remote collaboration technologies so that the technician can become more efficient to be able to reduce cost and so forth. And also there's companies, the field service providers are increasingly using more subcontractors and freelancers when it comes to delivering field service. So these are some of the macro trends in field service. And these are exactly the waves that DoubleTime wants to ride to build business values via the services that we provide.
I can see all of those things being major trends, and I hope that you guys become a household name. That's for certain. What will success look like for DoubleTime, and maybe even more specifically, Shao, what will success look like for you?
Sure. Success for DoubleTime will mean that we will be powering the resource directories and for most field service providers in the Fortune 1000 companies. And we want to become the marketplace for field service technicians across multiple industries and around the world. So that will mean a success. I think that will define a success for DoubleTime. For me personally, it would be great if I will be able to claim myself to be a serial entrepreneur and start the next startup, to found the next startup after DoubleTime.
Absolutely. Well, I'm hoping that's going to be the case, and it certainly sounds like it will be. I definitely think you guys are answering a need in the market right now, especially as the job market continues to develop and meeting all those emerging trends, and as there's more freelance and more gig work and being an application that can work in all different sorts of backends, that's something that I can see being really valuable. So I'm so excited for you, Shao. That's really awesome. Maybe if our viewers want to know, since you guys are very new, you just started in November, how many employees do you currently have, and how fast do you plan to scale?
Yeah, so so far we are a 3-person team, and the current plan is that we expect to grow to 10 to 15 people in the coming year.
That's awesome. And I'm going to make sure to drop links to get in contact with DoubleTime for all of our viewers if you're interested. And if you have this sort of skill set, I'm sure Shao is going to be looking for the best and the brightest minds, which I know the Hive Think Tank Data Bees are definitely that. So I will make sure to drop those links. And Shao, you really joined the Hive Think Tank startup ecosystem at a very unique and interesting time in history.
Sure.
How do you see the pandemic, as we are still currently in it, and we've just entered another round of stay-at-home orders? How do you see the pandemic affecting how you grow the company, and or maybe how do you see it affecting the technology and the product itself?
Okay. First of all, my heart goes out to all those that have lost loved ones during the pandemic, and to those people whose jobs and livelihood have been severely impacted by the multiple lockdowns that we've been having. And regarding the impact of the pandemic to growing the companies and so forth, personally, I've been building and running distributed engineering teams throughout my career. Talents exist, can be found anywhere, anywhere around the world. For example, my teams at ServiceMax, we were distributed in 5 countries, 4 time zones. And the impact from the pandemic to us was that we are not able to travel for team building activities and so forth. But people know we are very accustomed to working from home using the modern communication collaboration tools to help us collaborate and so forth. So for DoubleTime, that's definitely what I plan to do, is that I'm building a distributed team from the start. Obviously, as vaccine becomes available to me, I plan to get vaccinated as soon as possible so that I can resume my globe trotting, which I enjoy.
Yeah, hit the ground, right? Absolutely. And I think you said it so well, Shao. Our hearts are definitely go out to those who have experienced hardship in whatever form this year. Um, and I like that you have a positive outlook on it, and you're just still gonna, pivot and keep going. So, kind of on that note, as a last question, it's certainly been a very difficult year for people. Some very, very difficult, more than others. But to try and find that silver lining and end on a positive note, what has been the highlight of your experience with the pandemic? Maybe this is a fun little thing that our viewers can get to know you a little bit more on. Perhaps a favorite book or movie discovery, or a dish mastered, or a favorite memory?
Sure. My family has been extra cautious regarding COVID because I take care of my mother who lives nearby and she is in the high risk group for COVID. That said, I would say the highlight for over the past few months when in the pandemic is that we get to spend extra time together as a family. We enjoy hiking, so we sought out and hit the trails together multiple times. We ate takeouts together and so forth. So I sort of consider this a sort of highlight of the last few months, uh, ignoring the fact that whether I like it or not, I tend to spend a bit more extra time at work because, but other than that, it's all good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think this last year has really highlighted what matters and what's important, and it's definitely that sense of community, those bonds that we have, and it definitely makes you appreciate what we have and going back to basics. So I have to agree with you there, Shao. Thank you so much for your time today. I'm so excited to watch you and Double Time grow into an incredible opportunity. I want to thank our viewers as well and remind everyone that I will definitely be putting the Double Time links in the show notes, so that way you guys can learn more about Shao and the incredible vision and product that he's helped bringing to the world. So thank you so much, Shao.
Thank you.